Week 1 of the NFL season is officially over. We are going to tell you which teams are exactly where they need to be and which teams should be praying for a top 10 pick. Big news in Cleveland right now. The Browns may actually be able to get out of Deshaun Watson's contract and be done with the nightmare that has been the Browns' current quarterback. And we have a huge announcement coming up for you. That and more coming up on Sports Talk with Dad right now. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me. A man so old, he remembers when you needed multiple keys to drive a car. My dad, Tim.
You actually found one, I have to admit to.
Yeah,
Yes.
You used to need to start a car with a key,
Square part of the key,
and then open the trunk with a completely
with
different
a
key.
little oval part of the key.
Which is
Yes.
so weird. I remember a situation, this is why I thought of it. I was thinking about Grandma the other day. I don't know why she popped into my head, but I remember driving down the road and her little schnauzer jumped out of the car and we had to pull over to get the dumb dog. And she opened the trunk to get the leash with a different key. And she told me all about it. I was like, this is so weird.
That's the way it worked. And
It was an old car, very old car.
the bright lights, you actually push the button on the floor to get the high beams to come on.
That I didn't know.
Oh, yes. But
That's actually a better idea.
I
You
always
just tap your foot to
You-
turn on the brights
you
on and
tap-
off
It was in the upper left-hand corner, so your left
instead
foot
of the
would just
switch.
tap it. Yeah,
They should bring that back.
I loved it. Here's another thing. You probably will remember this,
Okay.
but I learned to drive in a truck with 3 on a tree.
Oh my goodness. I've always wanted to drive one of those cars.
Your
Like, that's a dream of mine. I love manual transmissions,
Mhm.
and I've always wanted to try one with the truck because I know it's more difficult.
Your grandpa had a truck like that when he owned the dairy, and he always had 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, except on the tree, on the drive thing. First is up here, you bring it down for second, you move it up and over for third, which is like a small letter H, and then
Yeah.
go into reverse, you complete the big letter H. It's a lot of fun to drive.
I've always wanted to drive one.
They're fun.
You can't find them anymore.
No.
You can barely find a manual transmission anymore. It's
Right.
all automatic. Like even semis are automatic now.
Which blows my mind. You used to have 12 speeds on those things.
Some of them have like 18 speeds on them.
Wow. I could never drive a semi.
Dale's jump truck, my uncle Dale, when he was driving dump truck, his had 12.
Wow.
And he was telling me when he learned, because you have to get a special license for
Mhm.
all those. Yeah, he would have to drive a semi with 18.
I was offered to
It's
learn
different. That's why I never make fun of semis when they go slow out the gates, because it's like I used to when I was a kid. I'd be like, man, they suck at driving. And then I learned they had 18 different shifts they had to go through, 18 different gears. I was like, dude, they get up to like 5 miles per hour and have to shift again.
Right. I worked at a plastics plant for 1 summer
Yeah.
when I was in college, and they tried to teach me how to drive a semi, or offered to teach me how to drive, and I'm just
Right.
like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do that. Anyways, later today, we're going to be doing something that we've never done before.
Yes, make sure you check us out tonight. We have a live stream directly from the premiere of Just a Bit Outside. We will be talking to several former Brewers players and members of that team, including the director and the producer, Sean Hainish and Kelly Call, which you met on our show last week. We're going to have them on again, but make sure to check us out. Again, we will be at the premiere of the movie about the 1982 Brewers, Just a Bit Outside.
I can't wait.
I am very, very excited.
And I will not go fanboy.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't.
You have to be the adult in the room. I'm not capable.
I know.
So you can't switch on me. We've talked about this a couple of times, and he gets really excited and fanboy when talking about this. And you cannot be the non-grown-up in this situation. I can't handle being the bigger person here.
I got to be honest with you. I'm very interested in talking to these guys, not only about the 82 team,
Yes.
which should have won the World Series. Raleigh wouldn't have gotten hurt. But I also want to
That's
talk.
going to be the title of it, if Raleigh didn't get hurt, by the
I'm
way.
also want to talk to them about the state of baseball today, especially if we get a chance to talk to Ted Simmons or Pete Vukovich. I want to talk to them about pitching.
Yeah, Bud Selig is going to be there too. Hopefully,
Mhm.
we'll get to talk to him as well. I have a lot of questions about a bunch of different things. I really do, especially questions to our former commissioner, Bud Selig, about pitching, about Rob Manfred.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll be on for 2 hours.
Yep.
Beginning 5 o'clock Central
And
Time.
then we get to go and watch the movie, and I'll actually get to see exactly what you're talking about. We did get a sneak peek of the movie the other night, and it is outstanding. You need to go and see this movie. It changed my opinion completely on this Brewer team.
I've, of course, lived that season. It took you on all the highs.
Yeah.
But all the lows.
I'm actually really upset about this whole thing, honestly. Why? Because now I can't give you shit about the 82 Brewers anymore. I get it now. I get why people in Milwaukee of your generation are so obsessed with this team. Because it was such an amazing season. It was such a unique team. And it was such a heartbreaking situation. Like, there is no reason you guys should have lost that World Series.
Well,
you got it stolen from you.
Actually, we won game 2.
Right.
But
worst call in history besides the Galarraga call.
Ted Simmons is still angry about that.
As he should be. Make sure you check out the movie because they go in detail on every little bit, and it sucks because now I can't make fun of my dad for the 82 Brewers anymore.
They also show Gorman in the dugout in Boop smoking a cigarette, then going out and playing.
That's real men, okay?
Yes.
They don't even let chewing tobacco in the dugouts anymore in most states.
Any state. When the minor leagues now, when I was there, they would put all the chewing tobacco in a garbage can outside the locker room.
Yeah.
And the guys would go and rake through and get their stuff. And they can't even have it anymore.
Nope. It's banned. I know it's banned in Wrigley. I think it's banned in Milwaukee.
Banned everywhere.
Well. Is it everywhere now?
MLB banned it. And to see Harvey Keene, that man had a chaw.
Big old chew.
But anyways, this is a great, great movie. I can't wait to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, we'll be at the premiere, and then the movie opens throughout the state at Marcus Theaters, anywhere in the state.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, by the way, he said tomorrow night, he's not very good at this. We record this on Tuesday. It does post on Wednesday. So if you're watching this after it's posted, it'll be tonight, Wednesday, September 11th. Make sure you tune in at 5 p.m.
And the movie opens on Friday, September 13th at Marcus Theaters throughout the state.
Yes. So forget your scary movies. You want to see a real scary situation, watch what happened to the 82 Brewers.
Speaking of scary situations.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson just cannot keep out of trouble.
Man, what did I say? Best case scenario for each team in the NFL at the beginning of the season. I said for the Cleveland Browns, the best case scenario is to find a way to get out of Deshaun Watson's contract. And they just found a way to get out of Deshaun Watson's contract.
Maybe. For those of you who haven't heard, another woman has come forward claiming that he sexually assaulted her in 2020.
Correct.
Same pattern, same MO
that he has. Massage, all that stuff. You can read about it on your own. We're not going to get into it.
But the contract that he signed with the Browns has only one out in it, and that is?
Well, he does. Let me get the exact language in here. So this is paragraph 42 of his contract. This was released by PFT, who obtained a copy of this. Paragraph 42, player hereby represents and warrants, except as otherwise disclosed to club in writing as of the date hereof, that one player has not been charged with, indicted for, convicted of, or pled nolo contendere, so no contest, any felony and or misdemeanor involving fraud or moral turpitude. Two, player has not engaged in conduct which could subject him to a charge, indictment, or conviction of any such offense. And number three, no circumstance exists that would prevent players' continuing availability to the club for duration of this contract. Now, what this means is if he disclosed this to the Cleveland Browns in writing, there's nothing they can do about it. It's there. He told them about it. It's over. It doesn't make a difference. However, if he didn't disclose this to the Cleveland Browns, that's where things get interesting. Because at this point, then, to get out of this contract, all that truly has to happen, if you saw in number three, no circumstance exists that would prevent the player's continuing availability.
NFL could suspend him.
If he gets suspended because of this, and the Browns didn't know about it, that's the end of this contract. It's over.
They are calling Roger Goodell right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with this pattern of things, this wasn't obviously a part of the lawsuits before. There's enough smoke on this stuff where somebody has to come at Deshaun Watson with a charge for something. This is getting absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it is. And again, we don't know. Number one is allegedly.
It is alleged.
Number two, though, this is 4 years later. Did he disclose it at the time of this contract? That's the big thing in this whole thing.
If he didn't disclose this, and I'm tired of, well, where was she 4 years ago? Listen, this is, go and read it for yourself, number one. But number two, this is a traumatic situation. How do you disclose this type of stuff? I mean, this woman's brave. You know, again, this is alleged. And so I'm going to say if this ever happened. Okay? No disrespect to anybody involved in the situation. But because we have a show, we have to say allegedly here. So if this actually did happen, how do you come forward? It's brave just to even come forward with this.
And if this did happen, the NFL, and it wasn't disclosed, the NFL has to step in and ban him.
And that's the end of the contract.
And he needs to go away.
And unfortunately for Deshaun Watson, when this happened before, like it or not, Deshaun Watson was playing out of his mind at that time. He was one of the best players in the NFL.
Now?
And so a lot of that stuff was allowed to slide. He is not playing well and hasn't for years. And the Browns would give anything to get out of this contract.
I got to be honest with you. I saw part of the game against the Cowboys. He looked like he didn't even want to be on the field.
Because I don't think he does. He has a guaranteed contract now. And so he has no incentive to play. It's $230 million guaranteed. He has no incentive to play.
That should be the incentive, however.
This is the worst contract. I never thought Albert Hainsworth would be beat for the worst contract in NFL history, but Deshaun Watson has just beaten out Albert Hainsworth as the worst contract of all time. He's destroyed this franchise, and it's the Browns' fault. I don't feel bad for the Browns. Right. I want to make that clear. You knew what was on the table, and you signed it anyway, which is why you put this paragraph in the contract. But with this coming out, again, if he did not disclose this to the Browns and he gets suspended for this, that's it. Contract over. Null and void.
He would have played his last game for the Browns.
Last game in the NFL.
They're walking away, and I was just going to say, end his last game in the NFL because nobody else would touch him at that point.
Why would you? He literally is playing like garbage. He acts on the field like he doesn't even want to be there. And now all of a sudden this pops up.
Right.
It wasn't worth the headache, in my opinion, when they were talking about it in 2022 when he was traded. And it's definitely not worth the headache now. Because who knows what else could be out there.
There seems to be, in these types of situations, there's something always lurking.
There is. I don't know. I hope whatever the situation is, right? I don't know if this, I have to go by what the lawsuit says. I don't know if any of this happened or not. This is all alleged. If this did actually happen, Deshaun Watson they need to get out of this contract. He shouldn't be paid anything else. He needs to be out of the NFL. And I think if this actually happened, the dude needs to be in jail. Yeah. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. I said that 2 years ago when this was coming down, that if any of this is truly real, he needs to be in jail for this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that will happen. This is just a lawsuit. So far, it doesn't look like any criminal charges have been filed.
But there'll be pressure on the authorities in Houston to re-look at this.
There will be. Did this happen in Houston? I don't even know if this happened.
I believe it was in Houston.
Okay. It's a sad situation either way. I mean, no matter what the true story is on this, it's a sad situation no matter what. But the Browns could actually get out of this contract.
We're going to find out. I think this will happen really quickly over the next 2 weeks. And then we'll know. But it was an interesting week 1, to say the least.
It was.
In the NFL. Let's take a look at these games, and I want we'll go back and forth on what you thought of each of these games.
Let's do it.
All right. Jets at 49ers last night.
Monday Night Football. The question is who do you blame for the Jets completely getting destroyed? I want to say Jordan Mason from the 49ers, where's he been?
They just reload.
That was insane.
Yeah.
He went off. I have his actual stats here from the game last night. He went for 147 yards and a touchdown on 28 rushing attempts, totaling 5.3 yards per carry. I think a big thing with that, though, if you really look at it, I don't know if this is truly sustainable. I hope he's just a beast and keep doing this. But the Jets were clearly, with McCaffrey being out,
Right.
they were looking at Purdy and saying, we're going to make sure we shut you down with all these weapons. Forget the running back. Who is this kid? We're not worried about him. And never adjusted to all of a sudden realize, listen, Jordan Mason's pretty good. We should probably stack the line a bit.
Rodgers looked so rusty, which
He did.
he should. But
He's
again,
40 years old and just got off of an Achilles injury.
which is why he should have played some preseason. But he never does.
He never does.
The play calling was as vanilla could be, and not in a good way.
Well, I think that's the bigger issue is it was like watching Matt LaFleur's offense when it's like watching Matt LaFleur's offense still a little bit today. The scripted plays are great, but when all of a sudden you have to start to adjust, Nathaniel Hackett clearly can't, pun intended, hack it.
Yeah, and they're
See what I did there?
I did,
Yeah, okay.
and I'm moving on. He really only targeted 3 guys last night, and he didn't look good. And he looked gimpy.
He had moments.
Gimpy the right word?
It's a good word to use for this situation. I mean, he definitely wasn't fully comfortable on that leg yet. It's his first live action. It was his first time really getting hit. I agree. That's why you play preseason games, but he didn't. So you got to expect this from the Jets a little bit. This is their first time with Rodgers really on the field. It's going to take some time to get used to each other. I'm not worried about it.
Jets fans are losing their mind, and they really shouldn't.
They're going to be fine.
They're going to be fine in the end.
They're going to be absolutely fine. The 49ers fans are right where they are. The Jets are where everybody should have expected them to be. This was a tough game in San Francisco. Rodgers' first action in a live football game in a year to almost the day.
And
I don't know what you expect.
And he looked like it. All right. One of the best games of the weekend. The Rams at the Lions.
I tell you what, this could be an NFC Championship preview.
I told you in my predictions, the Rams are a really good team as long as Stafford stays as quarterback.
Goff looks great on the Lions side. Jameis Williamson looks, I always call him Williams.
Thank you.
I don't know why I always call him Williamson. Jameis Williams looked absolutely the star we thought he could be. He was on my bench in fantasy football, and I started Amon-Ra St. Brown instead.
Oops.
Shame on me. Still won. It's okay. I also had Moody from San Francisco who put up 29 points.
I still hate them for drafting him, but just ahead of when the Packers would have been able to draft him.
Yeah, he is looking great. I have a lot more respect for Goff now, too, and I already had a lot of respect for him.
But their defense
to
was
give the game
sketchy.
ball to Williams when he was handed it, amazing.
But their defense was sketchy.
Their defense will be fine.
I think it'll get better as the year goes on. The Rams are class. They looked really good.
They did. Stafford had to step up to put up some points in that game, and he did. They're both really good teams. They're both right where you want them to be. If I'm the Rams, I'm not upset at this loss. It is.
No, it's just one, and they're going to be fine. They're going to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they'll continue. Browns at the Cowboys. We've already talked about the Browns.
Deshaun Watson looked like garbage.
He did.
The defense did not look good at all. The Cowboys look outstanding.
McCarthy and Dak Prescott are one of the best coach-quarterback combinations in the entire league.
You know what happened week 1 for the Cowboys last year, though?
Same thing.
They won by 40 points.
Yeah.
They're ready to go early in the season, and that's great. They're going to be 12-5 again this year. I have no doubt about it. The question is, what's going to happen in the playoffs?
Well, Dak signed a 4-year, $240 million contract. He is the first $60 million quarterback, as he probably should be.
We all knew he would be.
Yes.
The question is J-Love going to get that, or is Dak Prescott going to get that? Dak Prescott got it.
Stop bringing up J-Love. We'll talk about him later, and I don't know why. Next game, Seahawks at Denver. Seahawks won the game.
Seahawks won the game.
Bo Nix looked really, really rookie-ish.
All the rookie quarterbacks did.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect? Bo Nix looked great against third and fourth stringers, guys that aren't even in the league anymore. That's good. That's what you want them to be, right? Because that's what they saw in college. The speed's different now. This is a different ball game. They're going to struggle. Caleb Williams struggled too. All the rookies did. It's not surprising. You're going to see that. Again, everybody's obsessed with Bo Nix, including me. But you have to, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Broncos won 6 games this year. It wouldn't surprise me if they won 3 games this year. There's a lot of work to do still on this team. And all you need to see from Bo Nix right now is that he gets better as the year goes on.
And I think he will. I think we've seen the ceiling for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Geno Smith is a great story.
Right.
But
I mean, it's like, imagine all of a sudden you're driving a car and you're going 65 miles per hour. That's the speed limit. You're going that speed limit. And all of a sudden you get 5 miles down the road and the speed limit changes to 200. And everybody around you is going 200 miles per hour. You're going to feel real uncomfortable going from 65 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour for a little while until you get used to it. And then you'll be fine. I'm not worried about him.
Good analogy, actually.
Thank you. It just popped in my head. The Seahawks, we're going to see if Geno Smith can do. I mean, Geno Smith is that quarterback to me that you bring in to be that gap. But for some reason, the Seahawks haven't brought anybody behind Geno Smith to be after that gap.
Give the Seahawks credit. They're going to live with Geno this year as they're building out their program.
We'll see. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on Geno for that whole game. They won. But they won because, again, you had a rookie quarterback that wasn't ready yet. But he will be. Make no mistakes, he will be.
This game, there's really only one team to talk about. Chargers at the Raiders. Jim Harbaugh is the biggest difference-making coach in all of football.
It's one game.
It's one game. Chargers look really good. I think the Chargers are definitely a playoff team. I'll say that right now.
One game.
Yep. Look what he's done everywhere he's been.
Yeah, he has the track record.
Mm-hmm.
It's one game.
And he's going to.
Chill.
They could win the West.
Chill, man.
I mean, they look that good.
In the same way you can't freak out about Bo Nix, you can't now freak out about the Chargers being what they are. The Raiders, I think, are still going to have a pretty good year. I really do.
They don't have a quarterback.
They have the mullet.
I know they have. Yes, they have the prettiest man now in the NFL now that Garoppolo is gone.
I wouldn't go that far. But he does pull off a mullet really well.
Yeah, he does.
Anywhere that Gardner Minshew has been, he wins. And it's, again, the first game of a 17-game season. Chill.
They're going to be...
I don't think we learned anything from this game. I really don't.
All right.
Jim Harbaugh's great, and he's obviously got the team bought in. Yep. And I think they're going to be good. This was a good team already.
They could win the West.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Tampa, I will not say the Buccaneers against the Washington football team.
Washington, again, quarterback. Rookie quarterback, first game at this type of speed. I thought he played well for where he was. Baker Mayfield's ready to go.
Baker Mayfield looked like an MVP, but again, they're playing against a team with a first-year coach.
Baker Mayfield's going to bake.
Well, he may.
He's good. This is a year, though, for Tampa Bay. I said this early in the season, right? Tampa Bay's got a weird window here because you really do have an aging team in very key places. And so you really have to make a difference this year and then next year because that window all of a sudden could close or that team's going to look very different. So the question is, can Baker prove that, hey, even as these receivers age out, he can still carry your team?
It's funny to hear I've listened to some of the fan shows in Cleveland, and they're all saying we should have kept Baker. Baker was a different quarterback today than he was in Cleveland. He's learned a ton having to go from team to team to team.
Yes.
I don't think he matures that same way if he stays in Cleveland.
No.
He's in a good place right now.
Him not getting hired by a team after being cut and having to wait a few weeks to get over to the Rams, I think was a big learning lesson for him. I think it humbled him a lot. He's a different person now, and he's looking really good. The talent was always there.
In the who cares game of the week,
Derek Carr's the MVP, man.
Saints at the Panthers.
Derek Carr looked real good.
Bryce Young, just not that good.
I don't think so.
You
need to show game 1 of season 2 that you've taken some strides. Like, the speed of the game now. You understand it. Granted, there's a lot of pressure in his face, but I just don't think he has it in the NFL. I didn't think it when he was drafted. I said the Panthers are stupid for drafting
We both did.
I thought the Bears were going to draft him. I was really excited, but they ended up trading the pick. This is not a good situation for Bryce Young, and I don't know if any situation in the NFL was good for Bryce Young.
I don't think so. I think he's one of those guys. It would have had to have been he would have had to be on the 49ers, quite
Even
honestly.
then.
And even then, I thought he would have been having trouble. Brock Purdy is a decent sized kid, and he's able to make the plays. All right,
he's 5'10", 185, soaking wet. This is going to be the Panthers could go 0-17.
Yes, and again, the total blame for this is on their owner because Frank Reich wanted to draft C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
and don't they wish they would have done that now? Bills at the Cardinals. Is Kyler Murray the real deal?
You want to know something? I was right.
About?
Kyler Murray's holding back that Cardinals team. They lost the game because of him. There are a lot of missed throws in that game.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is the real deal.
He is the real deal. We definitely learned that, and Kyler Murray's not.
I'm worried about Josh Allen because, well, he tied a record. He is the only quarterback other than Steve Young to get multiple rushing and passing touchdowns in the same game, which I found very bizarre.
I'm surprised Cam Newton didn't do that.
Surprised a lot of guys didn't do that, but apparently not. In any case, Josh Allen is carrying that team on his shoulders, and I don't know if he can last 17 games. I really don't.
He's Superman.
He is.
That's for sure. The question was, can he do it without a number one receiver? He's doing it without a number one receiver right now.
In game 1. Let's see how he's doing in game 12, 13, 14.
Bills go as far as Josh Allen goes. What did I say when Josh Allen was drafted? This is going to be the best quarterback of this draft class. I was right, as I normally am. He's Superman. He's on pace for an MVP. He really should have won it last year for the turnaround he had with that Bills team. If you're looking at this, is what bothers me with the MVP in the NFL a lot of times. They don't look at the most valuable player. They look at who is the most exciting player to watch this year. Like, you could say Lamar Jackson was the most valuable player. I can accept that. He was the most valuable player on the team, but he's also the most exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. If you look at a player that is the most important to his team,
oh, it's not even close.
It is Josh Allen. Without Josh Allen, that Bills team wins 5 games every year he's been there.
And my fear is he's going to try to do too much, as he always does. He's one injury away.
He is.
And he's getting older.
Bills season.
This was an interesting game. Steelers at the Falcons. What did you think of it?
I think Justin Fields is a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Mike Tomlin finds a way to win, as always.
Okay. Let's pause on this one for a second here.
All right.
What the hell is with Russell Wilson? Like, seriously.
Somebody needed to grab him and go, "You're not active. Why the hell are you wearing eye black? You look like a tool."
He's wearing pads and eye black and everything, like he's active for the game, but he's not. He should be wearing a sweatshirt and a headset,
baseball cap,
helping out Justin Fields by being on a headset with him and working with him. That's your job now. You're inactive. You're hurt, calves hurt, or whatever is wrong with him now. But Justin Fields took that opportunity, and I hate to say this, the Bears are gonna give a 4th round, or the Steelers are gonna give a 4th round pick to the Bears. He's your starting quarterback now. He looked great.
He looked okay.
He looked great.
He looked okay.
Enough to beat the Falcons. That's the other thing in this game.
Yeah, okay. Now we're getting to my part of this. Go ahead.
Kirk Cousins may be done. We're early here.
We're early.
But I can at least say he rushed himself back from this Achilles injury.
He looked like an old, hobbled guy. I think Michael Penix Jr. may see action this season.
Well, the issue is Kirk Cousins played 90% of his snaps from the gun. That's the first time in his career he's played that much from the gun. He is very much an under center guy. And I'm nervous that the only reason they did that is because he can't move.
He can't back up. He's afraid to put a lot of weight on that Achilles. And don't forget, he got hurt much later than Rodgers.
He did. He was
So-
hurt, what, week 7, week 8?
Something like that. So he's under a year where Rodgers is almost at a year.
You can't put Penix in yet, though, if you really want him to
Not
sit.
yet.
Because if you put him in and he has one good game, you can't take him out.
Well, it's the old Eli Manning or Kurt Warner and Eli Manning thing. If you take out Warner and you put in Eli, you go with Eli.
Yeah.
And
You
the
have to
same
stick
thing
with
here.
him.
And Kirk Cousins needs to look at his coach and go, that's fine. If you're putting him in, you ride him.
Kirk Cousins was brought in to be a gap quarterback.
Sure,
and
of
then a
course.
backup. Or not Kirk Cousins, Kurt Warner was
Yes.
brought in to be really the backup quarterback of that team once Eli was ready. Kirk Cousins was brought in to start for this team and possibly take him to a Super Bowl. Again, we need to chill. It's week 1, but it was troubling to see Kirk Cousins really not be able to move and play in a way that I've never seen him play before.
I was actually hurting for him as I was watching and going, this dude's still hurting.
It was tough.
All right, next game. Fun game. Won in the end by the Dolphins. They were playing the Jaguars up in Jacksonville.
Put Tyreek in handcuffs and he'll take it out on the other team.
That was insane. I
It's-
saw
it's-
the video of one of the other. It was either from the other team or if it's just a fan coming into the stadium. The cop just clubbed that guy.
Yeah, they released the footage, and it doesn't look good.
I mean,
There's a reason they suspended that officer.
Hill didn't roll down his window, and he had very
Well,
dark.
He did, and then he rolled
Yeah.
it back up. They told him to roll it back down. Hill wasn't being the kindest human being in the world to the
He
officers,
didn't deserve to get hit.
but he didn't deserve to be slammed on the ground.
Right.
Like, yeah, again, you're a police officer. It's your job to be the adult in this situation. He was being an ass, but he wasn't being threatening in any manner. The
No.
people that pulled over, all of a sudden they're leaving, they're trying to help their friend, and now you're all of a sudden putting those guys in handcuffs and asking for their license. And police are in a hard situation, right? Because they do deal with people shooting at them all the time.
Oh,
And this is a simple traffic stop,
right.
and you have way overreacted. And nobody, especially when they've been handcuffed, deserves to be hit in the back of the head
Right.
because they're not sitting down or pulled out of the car
It's a
without
bad-
giving him a chance to really get out of the. I mean, the whole situation looks bad.
Hill was obviously mad about it because he just wanted to get to the stadium,
Yeah.
but it's still
Hill was being very impatient. Let's not be
Yes.
unfair to the police officer in this situation. Hill was definitely being an ass in that situation.
police officer did deserve to be
But-
suspended.
Well, and because you have, as an American citizen, the right to be an ass. Like,
Right.
he didn't do anything wrong.
Doesn't give up his freedom of speech.
Right. And you want him to roll down the window. I get it. You want to see what he's doing. It's a dark tint. Have him open the door. There's other things you can do. You don't pull him out and slam him down.
And
But apparently, if you do, he's going to put up a massive game.
yes, and he did. And by the way, for those of you who are saying, well, windows shouldn't be tinted, in Florida, windows have to be tinted like that.
They do. I don't know if it has to be that dark.
No,
I don't,
maybe
I
not
don't know
that
what
dark.
the tint law is, but I know.
I had mine tinted down there.
Well, I actually got pulled over moving back to Wisconsin because I just had a car that had normal tint for Florida, but in Wisconsin, that dark of tint is banned. And so you can't really, there's different laws in
No, but
Florida
in
because
Florida-
of the sun.
Yes, exactly. Cars get real hot there,
Right.
but
Dolphins
right.
look good. Jaguars are an interesting story here.
I'm worried about them.
It's week 1,
I know.
but if week 1 does tell us a story, it's telling us I don't know what to make of the Jaguars. At points, they looked great. They were winning that game.
They were. And Trevor Lawrence just didn't look like he was just taking control of the game and just putting his foot on the throat of the Dolphins.
Right.
And he had opportunities.
He needs to make that step in his career. This needs to be a learning lesson for him. It's definitely still only game 1,
I don't
but it is an interesting situation.
I don't want to talk about this next game. Texans at the Colts. Colts look really good.
I was right on this one.
Colts look great.
Yeah.
And they've got a good team.
Anthony Richardson's got a chance to be a real good quarterback.
He had 3 plays for over 50 yards.
Yeah.
He looked really good. CJ Stroud is the real deal.
Where did he go to college?
I don't want to hear this.
Where did he go to
I
college?
don't want to hear it.
Where did he go?
He went to Ohio State.
He went to the Ohio State.
Okay, I'll
University.
never say that because that's stupid. He went to Ohio State.
The name of the college. The
he's
college
a-
is the Ohio State University.
He's the first quarterback out of Ohio State to actually look like an NFL quarterback ever. ever, ever, ever. Joe Burrow was an LSU quarterback, so you can't say that.
We had Arch Sleester.
Yeah, he had a cup of coffee and then he bet his way out of the league.
Well, yeah, he was great if he didn't have a gambling addiction.
Yeah. Well, in any case, Colts are going to be a very tough team.
They are. This is Anthony Richardson's rookie year in a lot of ways, and so he understands the speed of the NFL now, but it's still going to take him some time.
And he's a freak of nature.
He's a freak of
big
nature.
Dude.
He's massive. He's going to be all right. The Colts are going to be sneaky good. I don't know if they're a playoff team yet, but they're going to be a sneaky good team. The Texans are a team to watch out for.
Caleb Williams and the Bears at Titans look like a rookie quarterback.
He did. Yeah, I said this about the other two rookie quarterbacks and Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Thank you as well. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. But even I have to look at this and say it's week one. He clearly hasn't seen speed like that before on an NFL football field.
No, there are a lot of guys that are going to run you down no matter how fast you run.
Correct. He was very inaccurate. He cost the Bears that game. He almost cost the Bears that game. They won that game because their defense scored twice, which is a very Chicago way to win a game. But he did everything he could to lose that game for the Bears. He missed a lot of wide open receivers. He'll calm down.
He will.
I mean, you have to wait. Again, it's not his talent that makes me think he's going to be a bust. It's how mature can he be in this type of situation. He got away with one.
He said the right things after the game.
Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback.
No.
Not a starter, at least. He
No.
looked really bad, and he did cost the Titans that game.
He did.
They had no business losing that game. They had their throats on the Bears several times in that game, and just he couldn't do it. And he's sitting there yelling at people on the sideline. It's like, well, maybe if you stop throwing interceptions.
You're not Tom Brady. You can't get away with that.
No. Win a Super Bowl, and then you start yelling at people.
I was impressed with Williams after the game going, look, I had to do better.
Yeah, and that's great. That was my one question about him, right? When shit hits the fan, how's he going to react? And it hasn't hit the fan yet.
Not completely.
He looked really bad.
But he ended up winning.
But so did all the other rookie quarterbacks. So, again, week one of a rookie quarterback, that's what you expect.
This one I'm just going to ask you to explain because I was shocked. Patriots at the Bengals. Joe Burrow just wasn't there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
We're doing a YouTube show, so you can't have to say more than, I don't know.
What do you want me to say about this?
I mean, the Patriots looked like their coach. Hard-nosed, tough D. They played as well as they're going to be able to play, I think.
Yeah, the Patriots are what the Patriots are. You're not expecting them to be good this year. You 100% expected them to lose to the Bengals. I don't know what that was. I've never seen Joe Burrow play like that before.
I haven't either.
I really don't know what to say.
To me, it just means every team in the NFL can beat any other team if you don't show up to play.
This is a new message for the Patriots, new coach, new culture, a lot of new stuff, a lot of carryover from Bill Belichick as well. So you expect them to come out and play really hard, right? Because everybody's got something to prove here. And they did. And that's all you were expecting. What you weren't expecting is Joe Burrow to look like a shell of himself with really bad blonde hair.
Yes. It was, and it was in Cincinnati too, which really surprised me.
I know I'm supposed to have more on this one. I understand the role I have here, but
touchdown Jesus, the whole thing, and
that wasn't touchdown Jesus. I don't know what happened. I was watching that game and was just like I am now. Just
I think
like,
the word
what is this?
I think the word was gobsmacked for me. I just could not believe they lost that badly.
If they continue to play like that, they're going to get a new coach in there. And unfortunately, you're going to see Taylor be fired just to mix things up. Joe Burrow's not going anywhere, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I have two questions about the next game with the Vikings and the Giants. Is Sam Darnold that good, or is Daniel Jones and the Giants really that bad?
Both. I really think both. What did I say earlier? Don't be surprised if the Vikings are a much better team than people think they're going to be. Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick at one point.
At one point.
And he had that whole seeing ghost things with the Jets, which happens. He was getting pretty ruffled out there. He's had a chance to settle down. He's used to the NFL. This is his last chance where he needs to step up. And they have weapons on top of weapons with the Minnesota Vikings.
It's all going to depend on the injuries. Can Darnold play the full year? But the Giants need to blow it up.
The Giants are in trouble.
It's going to be a long year for them.
This is a bad situation for the Giants. It's not going to be good. Daniel Jones will not be your quarterback next year. I don't think they're going to regret not drafting a quarterback this year because you have other things you need to fill gaps for, and you needed a big-time receiver. It was the right pick. But next year,
you got to find a quarterback.
You're going to be looking at Clint Ewers and saying, hey, why don't you come to New York for a little while? But, yeah, the Giants are that bad. I think the Vikings are really going to push for the division. They're going to be a scary good team.
Or we saw them at their peak, and they're just going to be a mediocre team.
It's week 1 against a really bad Giants team.
Okay. We have to talk about this one.
Do we?
The worst field I've seen since the Super Bowl in Arizona. We're talking, of course, about the Packers at the Eagles down in Brazil. Both teams going to get the spikes right. I think the NFL brought that field in specifically. It obviously didn't take. It was
a bad field, but the Packers didn't look great. They were slipping and sliding. Christian Watson dropped a touchdown.
They were terrible in the red zone.
Jaden Reed looked great. Packers been terrible in the red zone since Matt LaFleur got there.
They've got to do something about that. I mean,
yeah, it's called take your big tight end, put him in the middle of the end zone, turn him around, and throw the ball at him as hard as you can.
The Bubba Franks rule.
Bubba Franks rule. It worked great.
It did.
For years. Keep doing that.
The Eagles' offense is real. Saquon Barkley looked really good against a new Packer defense.
A new Packer defense. It is a very new Packer defense. It's week 1. Obviously, the concerning thing.
Elephant in the room time.
Jordan Love's out for 4 to 8 weeks.
I think he's back in the Vikings game in 3 weeks from now.
He could be. It's a sprained MCL.
He's young.
Right?
He's going to heal fast.
He's going to be in a lot of pain this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pain management. What can he do? We brought in Malik Willis. I don't know. This reminds me a lot of when Aaron Rodgers went down when he broke his collarbone in week 1. And we had Seneca Wallace, who clearly had no intentions of playing that year.
He was in street clothes He was in street clothes on the sideline. They had to tell him to go and get into a uniform.
It was a whole bunch of situations.
Look, Jordan Love wasn't sharp, but he's got the weapons there. They still have the weapons there.
Do we? Or did Jordan Love make those weapons look great? I mean, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out right now.
Malik Willis, nobody knows what he is. He was considered to be a very high draft pick at one point. But I think that was just conjecture. He ended up being a 3rd, 4th round pick by the Tennessee Titans.
Here's my question. Eagles offense is really good.
Is it?
Is Jalen Hurts 3 interceptions? Is he? I think Russ may be right.
I don't think Jalen Hurts has it.
Russ Landy on the show a couple weeks ago said exactly what Kyle just said. He just didn't think Hurts was the guy to take them to the promised land anymore.
He could be. We'll see. I mean, he's done it before. He looked great when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they got it again. I just don't know. I wasn't impressed with Jalen Hurts. Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it the coaching? Are they not on the same page? What's going on there? Jalen Hurts has always been that guy that's had a really good attitude. Hoorah for the team. Has that changed? Or is Sirianni just not melding well with Hurts all of a sudden? It's a number of things, but Saquon Barkley looked great. He's been a great addition. A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown.
Here's my question for you.
It's a tough loss for the Packers. It was a close game.
It was a game they shouldn't have lost. They had several opportunities to blow them out.
They did.
Jordan Love is following Brett Favre, who never missed a game.
Yep.
Following Aaron Rodgers, who really didn't miss a game except when he broke his collarbone and really put him play. Right. Is he going to feel pressure to live up to the Favres and the Rodgers and go, no, I can play? Brett Favre and Rodgers played with broken thumbs.
He better.
I can play with a bruised up knee.
I hope so. I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see my quarterback be a quarterback.
I'm still not sure he doesn't try to force his way onto the field even this week.
He could. He's also a young guy who's going to listen to the doctors, though.
Well, Packers are going to make him listen. He probably is going to sit out this week. We'll find out what Willis has.
He's not playing this week. It's already been said. Malik Willis is the starter for week 2.
I liked the fact that Love is not on crutches. He's walking around on it.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
He walked off the plane without crutches.
Oh, he'll be fine.
He's going to be fine.
He'll be out a week then. Why is everybody talking about 8 weeks? So it really is pain management at this point. It's you can't hurt it anymore. It's can you manage the pain?
An MCL sprain is an MCL tear, but it's a minor tear. Shouldn't have been in that situation. He should have been out of the game, and Willis should have been in to close it out rather than have to win.
Why? You needed a touchdown to win the game. That's
no. I mean,
comment.
No, it is not. What I mean is they had 3 opportunities in the red zone to put the game away before it ever got to that point.
Well, I apologize.
Thank you. I don't make stupid comments. I'm not like you.
That's not true.
The Chiefs
You definitely do. But
opened up at Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson cost him that game.
He's got to learn to
Lamar Jackson
throw from the
cost
pocket.
Baltimore that game. Lamar Jackson missed 4 throws in the fourth quarter that would have either been a score or led to a score. Lamar Jackson's arm cost him that game.
The dumbest comment he made was in his press conference after the game where he thought it was a touchdown. The guy's foot was halfway into the white. It
wasn't a touchdown.
It wasn't a touchdown.
And here's the thing, too. One, you had a guy, Zay Flowers, I believe it was, wide open in the end zone, and you threw it. When somebody's running, you have to throw it where they're going to be.
Right.
He threw it to where the wide receiver was, and maybe it was a miscommunication. He thought he was going to stop. But either way, it's a miscommunication. It was a terrible throw. He missed him by a mile. And then you threw that ball almost like you were throwing it away. Your wide receiver, because he's a massive human being, made an incredible play and just didn't get his toe in. He was definitely out of bounds. But again, you had 3 opportunities on that drive to score touchdowns, and you missed all 3. Plus, he missed a couple of guys going deep, just underthrew or overthrew that ball.
Got to learn to just stay in the pocket. He tucked and ran way too often again.
Well, but why do you want him to stay in the pocket at this point? He is not getting that touch on the ball. I keep waiting because I like Lamar Jackson a lot. He's an outstanding athlete, and I'm waiting for him to take that next step into being a quarterback, and he's just not taking that step.
Well, what I got out of it was 2 things. Kansas City is just rolling along. They may, in fact, be in the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight time.
Travis Kelce barely did anything.
Yeah.
So my comment about him needing Kelce may not even be true.
They got some wide receivers in the offseason.
Worthy
looked amazing. Fast. But here's the biggest story that came out of that game from everything I heard. Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes didn't sit in the same suite.
Okay.
People talked about it all night. It's like,
why are you talking
Nobody
about it now?
cares. Because it was a story all week. It was just
not if we don't listen to it. It's a dumb thing. Who cares?
All right. So you ready for week 2?
Yeah. So last week we both went 3-2. We ended up splitting games we picked different. Yeah. So it's not a bad start. I mean, this is the best I'll be all year. So it is time for our week 2 predictions guaranteed to go wrong. We split them this week, so we are starting with my pick, Bills at Dolphins.
It's at the Dolphins. I wasn't overly impressed with Miami. I think the Bills are going to find a way to win this one.
It's at the Dolphins.
I said that. It's hot.
Tyreek Hill looked absolutely outstanding. That offense was on fire. They got something special there. Again, can you make Josh Allen one-dimensional? That's the question. Can you really either make him just have to throw? Can you make him just have to run? And if you can make him one-dimensional, you can contain him.
Who are you taking?
It's hard early in the season to go against the Dolphins in week 1. So my heart says the Bills. My brain says the Dolphins. I'm going to go with my brain. Okay. I'm going to pick the Dolphins.
All right. Next game up. Should be an interesting game. Tampa at the Lions.
Lions.
Absolutely. Lions look really good. They're a good team.
This is their year. This is their window.
Yes.
Because the Vikings are starting to look good. The Bears, who cares? The Packers are going to be the Packers again as soon as Love comes back. But they have a weird opportunity here where they can take the division, take the NFL. They need to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they're going to.
Okay. Next up, this game got very interesting very fast. Bengals at the Chiefs.
You pick first.
Well, I'm taking the Chiefs because unless Joe Burrow does something. Well, Joe Burrow just didn't show up.
He's going to show up. He's still football Jesus.
They could end up going in the tank after the first 2 weeks if they look bad again.
They started 0-4 before.
I know.
Made the playoff.
Chiefs are going to win.
I'm going to pick Bengals.
Of course you are.
I think it's going to be a much better game than what we saw last week against the Patriots. It's a learning lesson. They're going to get more comfortable. I'm going to take the Bengals.
All right.
And only to be difficult in this situation. The Chiefs have a really good team.
They're really, really good.
But I'm going to pick, as long as Taylor Swift shows up to games, I'm going to pick against them. So it's the Bengals.
Okay.
All right, Bears at Texans.
Yeah, the Texans are for real. I think Caleb Williams is still going to find out this is big boy football. And I think he's going to run into a buzzsaw. Texans are going to win at home.
Well, here's the thing. Like, he was having trouble against the Titans, who are picked to be
one of the worst teams.
One of the worst teams, the top 5 pick next year. And you're going against the Texans, which are possible Super Bowl contenders. You thought you saw speed before. Wait until you come to the Texans. I don't think he's ready for it. I think this is going to be a great learning lesson for him, but the Texans are going to run away with this game.
All right, and now it comes down to the Colts against Malik Willis and the Packers.
I don't pick against the Packers. I don't.
Give me reasons they're going to win.
I can't. It's at home.
Okay.
It's our home opener.
They've got weapons.
Josh
Jacobs has to have a big game.
They have some weapons. Josh Jacobs got to have a really good big game. The problem is the Colts are literally going to stop Josh Jacobs. That's going to be their whole game plan. Let Malik Willis beat us. They're at home. We got a defense that's still trying to figure out a new scheme. We're at home.
You pick with your heart. I have a hard time doing that at times because I see what the Colts have. Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, healthy.
I've made this clear on this show. I don't pick against the Packers, no matter if I believe it or not. Do I think the Colts are going to win this game? 110%. I think the Colts are going to win this game.
Colts are going to win.
The only saving grace is you have Anthony Richardson, who's still kind of figuring out the NFL, which he seemed to do really well last week.
3 plays of over 50 yards.
Jonathan Taylor against defense that is still learning a new scheme.
That still couldn't stop the run against Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but I'm going to pick the Packers anyway. I don't pick against the Packers. I don't. You can yell at me all you want. I'm not going to pick against the Packers. I'm going to be wrong. I'm taking that one as an L. At least I believe in my team.
I believe in my team.
How unacceptable for you to pick the Colts in this game.
I haven't picked them yet.
All right, who are you taking?
Colts.
Yeah. How dare you? I think you're right, but I'm going to take the Packers anyway. For the same reason I'm taking the Bengals.
Well,
I just have a belief.
And
that's not true. I actually think the Bengals can win that game.
And Jonathan Taylor was a Wisconsin guy, so I'm taking him because Wisconsin's going to get hammered this weekend.
Way to spin that.
Because Wisconsin's going to get hammered against Alabama this weekend.
It's going to be an ugly game. Are you ready for that? Like, you have to go with a Badger team that's trash.
It's not trash. It's just young.
They're a bottom-dwelling Big Ten team this year.
No, they're not. Dude. They're middle of the pack as always.
Dude.
They'll
beat Minnesota this year.
I hope.
That's the only game they'll be favored in. The remainder of the season. Then you have Malik Willis as their starting quarterback, which, hey, hopefully he does well.
He's got the same type of skill set that Love has, but he's only been there for 20 days. He hasn't worked with Tom Clements all that time. We're going to find out what kind of a magician Clements really is.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be a rough one to watch, I think.
We'll find out.
But I still have Ohio State, and you have
I've got the Badgers. Go Bucky against Alabama.
You have the Brewers, I have the Cubs, so you win in that category.
You know how I feel about the Cubs, and I just
be an
don't like their
interesting week.
manager.
You let us know what you think in the comments below, and while you're down there, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. But as you all know, you cannot have a conversation with your father without your dad getting the last word, so it is all you.
So tomorrow is the opening with Just a Bit Outside. They're going to have a question and answer period with Gorman Thomas and Charlie Moore. Friday, it opens up all over the state. You got to love the 82 Milwaukee Brewers. I do. It's my all-time favorite team. Gorman Thomas, Ben Ogilvy, Charlie Moore, Pete Vukovich, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor. I could go on and on. I could do the whole entire team. Why? Because there were a lot of characters on that team, and it was a lot of fun to watch them. Gorman Thomas would strike out, hit a home run, or run into the wall. But that's not why you should see the movie. You should see the movie because they did a really, really good job on it. It's a 2-hour movie that feels like you're there for 15 minutes. It takes you on the highs. There were a lot of lows to start out. The Brewers were predicted to win that going away, but yet they were way out of it. There were 7 games out in June. Fired the manager, brought in Harvey Keene, and then they went on that roll. Make sure you go and see this, especially in Wisconsin. They're going to be at Marcus theaters throughout the state. Find a theater, go and see this on a big screen. You're going to enjoy it, and you're going to want to learn more about the 82 Brewers. I know Kyle did, and you should too, because I can't wait to see it on the big screen myself.
I'm excited for it.
I am too.
It's the movie's great. We already know that.
Yep.
I'm excited to meet all the different players. I'm excited to hear the stories about it. Make sure you tune in tonight, Wednesday, September 11th.
At 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock p.m. to watch it live. We're excited to be there. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.